Alright, it is time for another video. Perhaps the working title for this video will be Karma1. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens on that one. But anyway, I got a bit of bad karma off the back of my last video. My hard drive died. It was expected. I mean, I was running it 6 years longer than the manufacturer said to run it. So I'm quite satisfied with the service I got out of it. Unfortunately, I lost 2 pieces of data. One was an esoterica, a script for an esoterica, I should say. It needed a rewrite anyway, but well, that was serving as research that had been done. But anyway, that's now gone. I'll probably write it again someday. And the screen caps of the troll farm. I'm being nice to this guy saying it's a troll farm. I'm pretty sure it was one guy on botted accounts, but anyway. The screen caps of the troll farm saying cry more. That's unfortunate. I wanted to make an edit out of that, but well, don't get to anymore. I don't get to. Well, I could, but there's just too many clicks. There's far too many clicks involved. Sorry, lads, you're not that important, unfortunately. There's too many clicks involved in getting those screen caps back at this point. So that's that. But anyway, the Singapore Grand Prix and the Japanese Grand Prix happened. Technical directives dropped. The budget cap ordered for 2022 came out. And well, some interesting things happened. Might as well address them. I'm gonna start with Red Bull. Red Bull perhaps found themselves in some hot water. Who knows? I'm running it that Red Bull found themselves in hot water. Because, well, the air around them, the energy around them, it's just a bit much right now. It really is a bit much. It's one thing for the spicy kitten camp to be throwing up their commentary on the season, as it were, right? It's one thing for that. It's another thing with the whole breach of the budget cap. That's another thing as well. And then you've got all the Red Bull or Verstappen fans. I don't know how you slice it anymore. who are wildly overzealous in the positions that they take on this here webosphere. They're just wildly overzealous. I'm sorry. It is what it is. I mean, what was it? After Monza? During Monza. I shouldn't say after Monza. I'm not going to bother to fetch the screen cap for this. But anyway, during Monza, the Monza weekend, I mean, you could see these Verstappen fans, the maximum strap-on with the vibration option. You could see these Verstappen fans, these Maximilian fans, all over the social media, all over the webosphere, exclaiming that, oh, Ferrari should be penalized for what's that, an outlap infringement. They were driving too slow. They didn't make it to first safety car line in time, something like that. And well, it's quite rich, and I'm pretty sure FOM found it rich themselves. It's quite rich that the Red Bull fans can be out here talking this way about rules being followed. It's really rich. I'm sure they're probably feeling some way about whatever's happened in post of the audit for the 2021 season, right? I'm sure they're feeling some way with the punishment that has been handed out. But really, it's been a slap on the wrist, especially when Red Bull bring an upgrade to circuit in Hungary. That cost them no wind tunnel time, because it's a reliability upgrade. Yeah, fuck off, man. I already went through that. Some videos ago. But I mean, with such an avenue open for development, regardless of whatever penalties are being served, as far as R&D goes, whatever penalties being served, and you can still perform that sort of upgrade on the car, okay. Everyone might as well breach cap. I'll get to the issue of the budget cap later. I'll get to that later. But sure, Red Bull have done all of this. You've got their fans out here just talking too much on the internet, just everywhere, really. They're just talking too much in general, everywhere, and they're airing their hypocrisy. And then you've got Dr. Marco. He gets in trouble for racial comments. I don't particularly care what he said. He's had to apologize. I'm not gonna go look it up, but he's had to apologize to Perry. So, with all of this in the air, when exactly does it become a good time for FOM, Ben Slime, Ben 10, fucking Chase Carey, and John C. Malone to read the riot act to Red Bull? When does it become a good time to do so? Well, when this technical directives thing is dropping, that's when it becomes a good time. What's actually happened in Singapore, people are going to say, oh, Red Bull were off the pace, or maybe their car's not suited to the... I mean, people can believe that if they want to. That's fine by me. I'm not particularly fussed about it. I would have believed that a long time ago too. But what's happened in Singapore with Red Bull here is that the powers that be, that I mentioned, read the riot act to them, said, okay, look, the energy around your organization is a bit much right now. It's a bit much. Your fans are doing too much online. Your god dog Horner, he's barking too loudly. He's upgraded from a kitten to a dog, but he's barking too loudly over here. Dr. Marco has aired some locker room talk, no doubt. The Verstappen fans are too much. The Tifosi were throwing booze at the winner of the Italian Grand Prix, and it's just all a bit much. So okay, what do the powers that be decide to do? Okay, we're gonna end the possibility of the 100% win streak for the season. They're gonna end that. It's been ended now, and a good time to do so is with the technical directives. What's happened here at Singapore has nothing to do with the technical directives. That's just a smokescreen. What the powers of the standard ECU that has been in the cars since, what is it, 07 or whatever? I forget the exact year, somewhere around there. It might actually be 07. I don't want to say 08, but it's one of those years. They dimmed down the power of the Red Bull. That's what they did. You've seen them dim the power of the entire grid at other Grand Prix. Here they dimmed down the power of the Red Bull, said, okay, look, we got to make things a little right here. A little bit right, because we're riding our luck metaphysically as it is. Ergo, you can't have the 100% record. Sorry. This is where it ends. You can pretend it's the technical directives until the next Grand Prix. Everyone will have forgotten by then. Everyone will have forgotten. It'll just be an off-form weekend. Even Perez was slow. At Singapore. I mean, look, it's film, right? It's film, so you're never gonna actually get a real reference, as it were. But the Red Bull cars at Singapore, they didn't even look like they were accelerating as hard as they usually do. Honestly, I mean, people could chalk it up to wheel spin or what have you. Do what you will with that. Do what you will with that. But really, the car just wasn't accelerating as hard as it usually does. In qualifying, no less. So, at that point, all I'm left to surmise is that FOM turned the power down because, well, some man needed to be humbled and they needed to right their own scales just a bit, as it were. But anyway, Red Bull is a bit of a scene. Red Bull's just a bit of a scene anyway. It's crazy to me that Liam Lawson can come in at Red Bull, drive the way he has, and then still not get the seat. That's a bit absurd. That's unprecedented with Red Bull for me, as far as I'm concerned. And then it's funny to me, you might see a video here or there of, oh, Red Bull don't have any drivers in the pipeline. Well, we've just seen Liam Lawson, he hasn't gotten a seat. Like, they got man in the pipeline. Iwasa, I really want to see Iwasa get a drive, but anyway, who knows? Who knows? May happen, may not happen. I'm not gonna think too much about it. And a number of other drivers, there's too many to name. But anyway, right, now that Japanese Grand Prix has happened, the interesting thing about the Suzuka circuit is it's a circuit that sort of challenges the cars with everything. It's another good testing venue. I'm sure there's a number of teams that wish they could actually have a test at Suzuka, but anyway. Anyway, it's a bit too out the way. There'll be a time, sometime in the future, assuming, well, depends what happens with 2025. But anyway, depends on the context of 2025. But anyway. Anyway, Red Bull found themselves in a bit of hot water, and they had to pay the price. They had to pay their master. And they're gonna have to do so again sometime in future. Probably sooner than I think. Probably sooner than I think. But anyway. Alright, I have to talk about George Russell and Mercedes and the team orders situation / fiasco that's going on over there. So here's the situation with George Russell, Gorgeous Russell. So Lewis Hamilton's not going to play his game anymore. That's the situation. It's really that simple. There have been various instances throughout the season where Sir Lewis Hamilton has played the Team Mercedes game for George Russell. And then there have been various instances throughout this season and last season where George Russell has played the Team George Russell game. And so this thing was bound to come to a head eventually, and the only one who was going to be in trouble is George Russell. He was going to be the only one in trouble. Why is that? Because, well, Sir Lewis Hamilton has, as I said, has been playing the Team Mercedes game. And he's been bitten in some instances on account of playing the Team Mercedes game. But hey, that's just how the cookie crumbles when you opt to operate in one specific way. But anyway, it served him well enough so far, so why not? Why not? But George Russell, he's now finding himself in trouble at Mercedes. He's now found himself in big trouble because, well, whatever result he thought he got on Sir Lewis Hamilton last season, it hasn't stuck. It simply hasn't stuck. And he's realizing this season that, oh shit, that's actually a world-class driver over there. I can't actually keep up with him. And, you know, we can talk about the change of the car and all of that because George Russell's advantage over Sir Lewis Hamilton inside the team itself flipped. Right, that whole meta-narrative within Mercedes flipped with the introduction of the Mercedes B-Spec. And so ever since, George has found himself, well, struggling to keep up really. And he's crashed at Canada. And he's just had a messy season in general, really. George Russell. And, well, I'm not entirely sure how much pressure he could be under internally at Mercedes. It's funny. You might have seen a video pop up in your feed here or there of George Russell being one of a number of drivers under pressure, and I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that because I don't know. I can't see Mercedes actually, unless they go and fetch Nick de Vries, but I don't think they're actually convinced by Nick de Vries. Especially after what Lawson did, I just don't think they're convinced by. Maybe they fetch Lawson. Anyway. Anyway. Russell, he's in hot water now. Not that he's at risk of losing his seat or anything, just that, well, Mercedes have eyes just like the rest of us. It's not like they haven't been noticing what's going on. I would love to know what Toto thought. Toto Wolff, this is Mr. Wolff as it were. I'd love to know what he thought of how Mercedes operated as a team after Suzuka. I'd love to know what he thought, because he wasn't actually at Suzuka. He was watching somewhere. Somewhere. He took the week off. He was somewhere. I don't know where. Only he knows where. Heck, he might have thrown his remote at whichever TV he was watching, but who knows? Who knows? It would be petty cash for him well, it would really be petty cash for Toto Wolff, wouldn't it? But anyway, you see, after Singapore and George crashing in Singapore in particular, did Mercedes have a chance at a win? It's a maybe. It's a maybe there. I can't say definitively that yes, they would have had a chance at a win if Sir Lewis Hamilton was led by George Russell. I can't actually say. But at the same time, Carlos Sainz did drive a very clever Grand Prix. He drove a very cerebral Grand Prix, I should mention, Carlos Sainz. Some people probably thinking, oh, Ferrari are back. Well, it's not. They're never back. No one's ever really back in current formula until they make a hat trick of it. If they don't make a hat trick, it's a false dawn. Forget about it. McLaren are not really back because they can't actually breach the top step. No one can actually breach the top step, so no one's actually back. That's just the way it is. No one is actually back. But Sainz did drive a very cerebral Grand Prix at Singapore, an incredibly cerebral Grand Prix. So I can't say definitively if Sir Lewis Hamilton was led by George Russell that a Mercedes would have won the Grand Prix. But it is poor on George's part that he crashed. That is poor. That is poor. And it's likewise poor that he couldn't actually find a way past Lando Norris on the new Singapore layout, whatever it is, right? That's also poor. Because no matter what, the tire advantage was huge, and you've got Sir Lewis Hamilton with too many years of experience at this point, who's probably looking at the situation and, well, he would know where to attack. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. He would know, okay, so because Sainz is doing this thing with the DRS, I'm going to have to attack somewhere else where the DRS is not going to be relevant. And we've seen him do it before in previous races. I can't actually recall a particular race, but I do recall that it's something that he has in his locker. And George, well, it's always going to be new to George still. You know, especially when he actually gets to experience a title fight. It's always going to be new to George for a moment. And he'll probably really come undone for a season or two if Mercedes do actually produce a title challenging car against, well, another cheat car, as it were. That's just how it goes for Mercedes. I'm rambling a bit on this Mercedes section. But George, yeah, the whole thing has worn thin with the public now. That's George's problem at the end of the day. It's worn thin with the public, and it's worn thin internally at Mercedes. Everybody's tired of it. Everybody's tired of the Team George Russell thing. Thought it was Team Mercedes. George is making it Team Gorgeous Russell. And he makes a big point about team orders when they're in his favor. When they're not in his favor, well, he might just ignore them outright. Such as in Jeddah, but anyway. Anyway, it's worn thin, George. It's worn thin now. And, well, you're either gonna live and learn, or, I don't know, you might get replaced, really. I don't see Mercedes replacing him, but it's an option. But anyway. Alright, I got a comment on this. I absolutely have to. Bernie and Felipe Massa, they've gotten in trouble for, well, stirring the pot. As they got in trouble. The pot's full of shit right now. They stirred it up and it kicked up a stink. Them two got in trouble. Massa, he wants his money, no doubt. He wants his money. Someone told him that had he been world champion, he would have made $100 million extra dollars from, well, opportunities this way or that way. Oh, the Felipe Massa driving academy and all of that. So, you know, Massa, he wants a check. That's really all he wants. I'm pretty sure that's on record somewhere. He's probably been quoted saying he wants the check. Or his legal team has been quoted saying that it's about the check. But that's really all that's going to quell Felipe. I'm not sure he can be read the riot act. But Bernie certainly can. Bernie most certainly can. You see, it would be weird for a Felipe Massa to turn up dead the next day. It wouldn't be weird for Bernie. So here's how I believe it went down, allegedly. Allegedly, right? So Bernie's somewhere. Might be somewhere in London or fucking on a yacht somewhere. Give a fuck about it. He got a call. He got 3 calls at once, I tell you what. He got 3 calls at once. John C. Malone, Chase Carey, and Ben 10. They all gave him a call and said, what the fuck type of rocket did you put in Felipe Massa's back? Do you think this is a game, old man? Do you think this is a game? You should know well enough just how things will be upended if any case like Felipe Massa's goes through. So why are you gassing this boy up? Everyone's boy to them. Why are you gassing this boy up, old man? Why are you gassing him up? You know the type of trouble this could cause. Right, next time you gas him up and you're willing him on to go through with this case, you know what's gonna happen, Bernie? You might be dead next day. You might be dead the next morning, oh boy. Like, can you imagine the type of assassins John C. Malone has access to? No. Allegedly at least. Can you imagine? There's not. Look, Bernie could have Trump tier security. It ain't saving his ass. It ain't saving his ass. And he knows well enough, so he stepped right the fuck back, Bernie. He stepped right the fuck back. He said, you know what? Massa, he don't have a case. There's no mechanisms in place to actually give him championship. So I'm stepping back. That's what Bernie said. He said he's stepping back. I don't know anything about this. I never said that thing to him that he says that I said. That quote in the media is wrong. He stepped back, Bernie. He said, no, that's not my baby. And we all know why he stepped back. He got read the real riot act. Alright, that's exactly why he stepped back. I tell you what, if F1 was still owned by Bernie, he would have he would have had Massa go through with this case, I tell you what. But anyway, it's not his baby anymore. And that means you can't actually, because Bernie is the supremo of F1. He would have been able to just say, go fucking make a rule that says you can award championships long after the season, 2 decades after the relevant season, in case investigations have to be carried out this way and that way. He could have passed some bullshit like that if he was still the F1 supremo. He's not, though. He sold it. Maybe he forgot he sold it because he's getting old now. But anyway, the funny thing about all these old men out here, the likes of Dr. Marco and Bernie. You see, Dr. Marco and Bernie, these two, they've already broke bread with the devil, as it were. They already know they're going to hell. They already know there's no saving them. They just try not to kick up too much of a fuss and be bothered with, well, the politicking of modernity, as it were. But this is why I issued the Peter Winslow challenge to the trolls. This is why. You see, Bernie and Dr. Marco, these are made men, right? Dr. Marco can say a racist thing, whatever he said, I don't really give a fuck. He's not gonna be fired. All he had to do was issue an apology. I ain't even read it. I don't even know if he did issue an apology. Obviously, this would have just been something handled by Red Bull, no doubt. But he's still getting paid. He still got paid. He still got paid for that week's work, that same week's work. He still got paid. There was no fine. I'm not saying you should be fined or anything. I'm just saying, there was really nothing that happened. Bernie over here can, F1 is trying to dead the whole 2021 fiasco. They're trying to dead it. They're trying to make it go away. Bernie can be out here. He can gas up a Felipe Massa to go and open up a court case that would just turn F1 completely upside down. And he lives to talk about it the next day. If I was fucking with F1 as an asset on that level, brother, I'm dead next day, dude. You're dead next day. I really hope Fix One has real security, because when he gets the full traction, shit, fam. Shit, fam. We gotta go VPN. Fuck the VPNs, actually. The governments can see through that. But anyway, let me not get into all of that. Let me not get into all of that, right? See, I issued the Peter Winslow challenge because Peter Winslow, he is not broken bread with the devil, and he's not a made man like any of these two. And he's probably close to meeting his maker. These other two won't meet their maker. So he's watching his tongue, Peter Winslow. He's watching his tongue. He's trying not to air lies, falsehoods out here. And so, you have the Peter Winslow challenge. Are you going to get him to say that the correct result was had in Abu Dhabi 2021? Are you going to get him to say it? I'd love to see if he could say it. If you ask Bernie, you know what Bernie's going to say. Devil worshipping, boule, skull and bones ting that he is. You ask Dr. Marco, you know what he's going to say. Man might as well be Waffen SS, allegedly. Allegedly, for all it is. So, go get Peter Winslow to say that the correct result was had in Abu Dhabi 2021. Should be easy. Should be easy for the trolls, you know. Go bother Peter Winsor, he likes the traction. Go bother that man. Anyway. Alright, I gotta make a comment on the budget cap audit for 2022. And I have to address the issue of calling Sir Lewis Hamilton Sir. Alright, just for anyone who's new. Just for anyone who is new here. Got a few new subscribers lately. But anyway, the budget cap. Alright, the audits come out 2022. Everyone was clean. So everybody perhaps thinks that's it. I'd like to think that's it. And that, well, everyone's gonna keep it on budget going forward. But, well, with the slap on the wrist for a punishment that Red Bull got, along with them actually being able to develop an upgrade that did not eat into their discounted, into their discounted wind tunnel time with their side pod upgrades that they bought at Hungary. Right, with all that being taken into consideration, I struggle to see how there aren't going to be any teams going over budget for this 2023 season when it gets audited during the 2024 season. I'm not saying McLaren are over budget, but it's very interesting what's happened with their car. It's very interesting. It's a bit of a curiosity. How have they done that? Right? You'll always find the Red Bull fans on the webosphere hoping this way and that way that Mercedes have broken the rules this time. You're never going to find Mercedes going over budget. If you're wondering why their car is not moving forward, it's because, well, bringing out the B-spec, as it were, that was the budget. Yeah, they can do a minor thing here, maybe a front wing, maybe a rear wing upgrade here or there, maybe a small detail upgrade on the body. They can do that here and there, but really, there's nothing major coming. There's nothing major coming that's going to put them in contention for a race win, unless when we go to Sao Paulo. Do we go to Sao Paulo this season? Who knows? I don't give a fuck to check the calendar. But perhaps when we go to a circuit where Mercedes have a benefactor, or a Sir Lewis Hamilton has a benefactor, right? That is the only scenario where a Mercedes might win, such as Sao Paulo last season. But you're not going to see a Mercedes going over budget. You're probably not going to see Ferrari going over budget. I doubt Aston Martin will be over budget. I could see something weird happening with a Haas or Alpine for some reason. But those are the only three, really. I'd be surprised if Williams are over budget. But who knows? Who knows? I don't believe James Vowles would let it happen, but who knows? After seeing how Red Bull's 2023 has gone, off the back of them being punished for their 2021 discretions, off the back of the 2022 audit, well, have they really lost anything? No. Right? I mean, people want to say the technical directives. You can't point to the technical directives after Suzuka. Funny thing that. Right? You can point to Perez doing whatever it is Perez is doing. I have my ideas, which I have elucidated in previous videos, but you can't point to that. So Red Bull are still doing as well as they were at the start of the season. At the back end of the season, they're supposed to be serving sporting penalties for their budget cap. It's not exactly materializing. If breaching the cap is going to get any team some sort of big progression on their car, I don't see how they justify not doing it off the back of this Red Bull season. I just don't see it. So when the audits are happening in 2024 for this year 2023 season, who knows? I would know that F1 is actually a competitive space if some teams were found to have breached cap next season, right? For this season. then I would know that, okay, it's actually a sport happening here. But if everyone's kept it above board off the back of the film Red Bull have produced this season with their cheated car, as it were, well, everyone kept their budget in check because they had to see what happened with Red Bull. Alright, so 2022 audit clean. Everybody clean. Take it as gospel that they're clean. If no one was clean, it would have already been talked about in the F1 back rooms, and you would have had various teams complaining about leaks this way and that way, such as Red Bull complaining about, how do Mercedes personnel have so much knowledge about the budget breach? Well, they're talking about 8 million. Like, what? What, Dr. Mark? Excuse me, can you say that again? Horner said it too. Well, I can't say it was just Dr. Marco's old age that let that one slip, because Horner, he said it too. Oh, where are people getting these leaks from? And the leaks were 8 mil, but I digress. I digress. I would be very interested in F1 again if a team were to breach cap by 10 million, because it seems to be within the parameters that Red Bull have established. And, well, we see what happens from there. Will it actually happen? Well, probably not. Probably not. F1 wants to make itself look legitimate at the end of the day, so probably not. But, well, people don't particularly have an excuse after this season. As all things, we'll see what happens. And now I've got to address the issue of calling Sir Lewis Hamilton sir. I got a comment from someone who thought it was crazy that I'm always addressing Sir Lewis Hamilton as Sir Lewis Hamilton. He found it crazy. Well, I also find it crazy that people don't need prompting to address Sir Jackie Stewart as Sir Jackie Stewart when he makes a cameo on TV. I find it crazy that people don't need a prompting to address Sir Sterling Moss as Sir Sterling Moss when he's making a cameo on TV. I find that all very interesting. They make sure to throw the sir out here and there, even in the other sports. We go to football, and anytime, like clockwork, that Alex Ferguson, former manager, legendary manager as well, of Man United, makes an appearance on TV, you will hear them address him as Sir Alex Ferguson. It's always going to be Sir. Simon Jordan has addressed Jim Ratcliffe as Sir Jim Ratcliffe. I mean, there's people who have far less cultural reach than a Sir Lewis Hamilton who get addressed as Sir. They all get addressed as Sir. So, and no one actually kicks up a fuss about it. No one kicks up a fuss about Sir Alex Ferguson every time he's on TV. Some men might catch themselves saying Sir Alex Ferguson, but a lot aren't. A lot of them aren't going to do so. Alright. I've got a buddy, best friend of mine. He found it wild that I was saying Sir Lewis Hamilton, but he was impressed. He was like, okay, no, you keep doing that, because I like that. And because, well, the programming is what it is, right? We've all been hit with the Sir Alex Ferguson programming. So most people, especially the football fans, most people, when discussing the topic of Alex Ferguson, the Man United manager, his name is going to be prefixed with a Sir. Maybe for some Man United fans it might be Fergie because they became so familiar with him, but generally his name is going to be prefixed with a Sir. It didn't get that way by accident. It didn't get that way by accident. It's no accident that when Sir Alex Ferguson is on TV, it's always Sir Alex Ferguson. It's no accident that when Sir Jackie Stewart is on TV, it's always Sir Jackie Stewart. It's no accident that when Sir Sterling Moss is being talked about on TV, it's always Sir Sterling Moss. It's not accident, these things. all of these things are being done intentionally. I've caught the F1 production only calling Sir Lewis Hamilton with the prefix of Sir twice in 2 seasons. One of them was by accident, so the Sir wasn't supposed to come out, it came out. One was by accident, one was on purpose. Neither of them was on a race broadcast. Right, so I've made the decision that, well, I'm going to constantly refer to Sir Lewis Hamilton as Sir Lewis Hamilton. Why not? Like, what good reason is there not to when a football manager is always being referred to as Sir Alex Ferguson everywhere he goes? Former racing drivers, not as celebrated as a Sir Lewis Hamilton, not as prolific, nowhere even close on the scale of phenom as Sir Lewis Hamilton. Why are they all being called Sir? You see, it's crazy. If Nigel Mansell were to be knighted, if Nigel Mansell were to be knighted, do you know how many men would call him Sir? Do you know? So quick as well, it would be instant. Sir Lewis Hamilton, I gotta call him Sir Lewis Hamilton. There's even men who are in Britain, who are in Britland, who are in Britain, who are existing on the British Isles, who aren't calling him Sir. So like, I gotta pick up the slack, homeboy. I really gotta pick up the slack, because no one else is doing it. I might as well fucking do it. You see, it's now gotten to a point where I want people to like catch me not saying Sir Lewis Hamilton, right? If you catch me not saying it, ooh, you might win a fucking prize or some shit, right? Oh man, I'm making myself laugh over you. But anyway, that's the issue of calling him Sir, because I see other men who have been knighted, who do not have the cultural reach and relevance as a Sir Lewis Hamilton, being given their full title. Now there's reasons for that, of course, right? There's reasons that they don't want the Sir Lewis Hamilton to be called the Sir Lewis Hamilton, right? There's reasons. Now, of course, the red herring is race. Oh, they're just racist. I mean, okay. What about the black presenter? Like, the black presenter doesn't like the British Empire, but, well, the driver does, so who gives a fuck? Alright, so at that point, what actually is going on here is that at the end of the day, we are beings of energy. We're given flesh, we're made physical, it is what it is. But really, what informs most of our lives is the cosmic energy that is all around us. And it's interesting, there's a thing to be said about concepts and ideas that stand the test of time. In a species as prone to distraction as humanity, right? There is something to be said for that, because the horoscopes are being published today. The horoscopes are being read today. I didn't read them, but someone read them. A lot of someone's read them. Right? And they've been published since ancient times. They've been talked about since ancient times. So there's some relevance there. There was a scientist, right? I forget the man's name, unfortunately. I may or may not recover it. I might talk about it in some other video. There's some scientist's name. Maybe he's been discredited and he's now a pseudoscientist, right? He studied the sun. He was very interested in studying the sun, the sunspots, and the position of stars and, well, just cosmic entities out there, such as planets and whatever. He was very interested in studying these things, and then he decided at some point to to treat the horoscopes as a science. Right? He went on some boats and he got info on all the crew that were working on there, and he just observed them. He just observed them with the horoscopes in mind, and with sunspot, with sunspot data, with the sunspot record in mind, historical record, as to the sun had this many sunspots during this year at this time and what have you, which babies were conceived and in gestation at that time. That's the science he was doing, right? He's been discredited, of course, probably been memory hold from YouTube for all I know, but he treated it as a science. He made some discoveries, and the shorthand is that the cosmic energies that exist out here in the universe all play some major impact here on terra firma. And so we're left with a quandary at that point, because we are all beings of energy on some level. So when a Sir Lewis Hamilton is being denied his full earned title, what exactly does that do? What exactly happens if everyone is addressing him as Sir Lewis Hamilton? What would happen then? Does anyone know? I don't think anyone actually knows. I know Mo Farah never gets the Sir. He's too dark, so they're never gonna call him Sir. He ain't got the complexion for the connection. Anyway, I'm gonna upset someone by saying the complexion for the connection. The complexion, but fuck it. I'll talk about that some other fucking video for all I know. Basically, no one calling Sir Mo Farah Sir Mo Farah. No one. Nobody. Maybe like me, you'll find some rogue YouTuber out there talking about Sir Mo Farah this way, that way, and they actually give him his full title, right? But you're never gonna hear a Sir Mo Farah on a broadcast. Never. Over 2 years, I only heard them say Sir Lewis Hamilton intentionally, with intentionality, once. Twice if I count the accidentals, right? They're on job with not saying Sir Lewis Hamilton. Who's they? The media. The whole media apparatus. These here swamp creatures and devil worshippers, allegedly, that own the whole media apparatus. Alright? They're very on job with making sure the Sir Lewis Hamilton doesn't leak out. Sir Jackie Stewart made a cameo. Oh, you gotta call him Sir. Sir Alex Ferguson made a cameo. Oh, you gotta call him Sir. Sir Mo Farah made a cameo. Next. Oh man, Sir Jim Ratcliffe made a cameo. Decide for yourself. Maybe you want to say it, maybe you don't want to. Who knows? This whole past year and a bit, with this whole Man United takeover fucking kerfuffle that's been going on, I've been hearing so many men referring to Sir Jim Ratcliffe with the full fucking title. With the full prefix. Who the fuck is Sir Jim Ratcliffe? People are gonna say, okay, he's involved in the Ineos industry and all of that. He's done more than a Sir Lewis Hamilton. Sure, I get you on that. But who the fuck is Sir Jim Ratcliffe? Like I said, he does not have the cultural reach of a Sir Lewis Hamilton. He does not have the cultural relevance of a Sir Lewis Hamilton. Man are remembering to call that night Sir, but not Sir Lewis Hamilton. That's very interesting to me. That's very interesting. Of course, the powers that be don't want to give Sir Lewis Hamilton his full metaphysical powers, because we are beings of cosmic energy. And they definitely don't want the Code Red scenario of Sir Lewis Hamilton getting the 8th championship, right? Codified. When it's a codified championship, you see, we already know he's got over 8, 10, whatever the fuck it is now. We already know that. We already know that, right? But, you know, the real kicker is when he gets the 8th, and it's codified, I'm saying when, right? It's already supposed to have gotten the 8th. But when he gets the 8th, and it's the one that gets written down in history, they already know it. There's going to be a whole paradigm shift in F1. You see, is Sir Lewis Hamilton the best black Formula 1 driver of all time? Or is he just an average black F1 driver? But you see, that's the question they don't want being asked, and they definitely don't want that question being answered. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that. If I take some 100 black kids and I put them through the same driving regimen as Sir Lewis Hamilton in his formative years when he was growing up, what exactly happens? Do they come out as good as Sir Lewis Hamilton? Do they come out better? Is Sir Lewis Hamilton the outlier? Who knows? They don't want anyone to know. That's the one that's not to be asked. But that's why they're not going to call him Sir. One, you can't grant him his metaphysical powers. And two, they're not granting him his metaphysical powers because they can't afford the paradigm shift to happen in F1. They can't afford that. Right? There's too many nations that play football better than... Anyway, that should be the vid. Yeah, I believe that should be the vid. I could make a comment on penalty zones. I don't actually think it's all that relevant now. If you want to know what the issue is with penalty zones, just as a quick closing comment, the penalty zones worked at the Canadian Grand Prix at Montreal because even if the drivers raced the penalty zone, they still come out slower than had they just done the circuit as intended. The penalty zones aren't really working everywhere else because, well, you can race the penalty zone and be faster than having actually taken the circuit, such as at Spain, such as at Singapore, and there's been some other examples throughout the season. Monza is one as well. There's been some other examples throughout the season. It's a work in progress. They're not going to talk about it all too loudly, but basically, if you're wondering why the penalty zones don't actually work as advertised, is because they've either been poorly executed at other circuits or they simply can't be executed. And well, Montreal is just it's just an outlier for a circuit where you can actually make good penalty zones. Mind you, I suppose Sochi, the Russian Grand Prix circuit, has something of a similar penalty zone. If you go out wide, at what turn is that? Turn 2, 3? If you go out wide over there, it's got something of a similar penalty zone, but anyway. It's not like we're going to Russia anytime soon. It's not like we're going there anytime soon, I'll tell you that. Maybe in the next video I'll make a World War III update, but anyway, that should be the vid. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Peace.
Hell breezy. Let me show you how to keep the dice rolling when you're doing that thing over there. Hey. Let's go! Cause I'm feeling like I'm running and I'm feeling like I gotta get away. Better know that I don't and I won't ever stop. Cause you know I gotta win every day. Go! She really wanna pop me. Go! Just know that you will never flop me. And I know that I gotta be a little cocky. Go! You ain't never gonna stop me. Every time I come a nigga gotta set it, then I gotta go and then I gotta get it, then I gotta blow it, and I gotta shut it. Any little thing a nigga think that he be doing, cause it doesn't matter, cause I'm gonna dead it. Then I'm gonna murder everything and anything about it. Boom, about a thing. I gotta do a lot of things to make it clearer to a couple niggas that I always win, and then I gotta get it again and again and again. And I be doing it to death, and now I move a little foul. Nigga better call a rap, and everybody know my style. Niggas know that I'm the best when it comes to doing this, and I be banging on my chest, and I bang in the east, and I banging in the west, and I kinda give you more, and I will never give you less. You will hear it in the street, and you can read it in the press. Do you really wanna know what's next? Let's go. See the way we on it, and we all up in the race, and you know we gotta go now try to keep up with the pace, and we struggling and hustling and set it and get it, and